Disclaimer: nothing in this post is intended to be anti-Christian. In fact, I go to a Christian church. Hi, Kurt and Christopher and everyone. Welcome again to Two and a Half Beards. Love your videos, as always. I mean, Kurt and Christopher, everybody doesn't have... Okay, you get it. This is part 2 of the mini 2-part series I introduced last week relating to perception as it relates to empathy, which occurs as part of our larger small series on empathy, of which this is the 6th video. Yes. And jumping off what I talked about last week, I wanted to relate another incident that happened to me that got me thinking about on this train of thought. And what happened was, over the summer, I had made an acquaintance from the community, another community member, and I happened to see this person for about several weeks regularly. Every day we were doing the same thing at the same time, and we just saw each other. So we began to get friendly with each other, started chatting, and we kind of had this casual relationship. And as we got more and more friendly, this person started telling me about their religion, which happened to be Christianity. And in the midst of telling me about their religion, this person said something that struck me very powerfully. And I don't think it was intended to, it just happened to be one of those things you remember. And so, by way of introduction to what I'm going to tell you about, Christianity is a very anthropocentric religion. It's human-centered, or actually man-centered, which is important, but we'll get to that in a later post. And it has to... Many of the themes have to do with the dominion of humans over the natural world. Humans are created in the likeness of God, and God is obviously at the top. So we have God, humans, and then natural world and the earth, somewhere below, the more celestial things, I suppose you could say. But what this person said, this quotation, was something to the effect of, it's okay to kill animals and eat them because when we attack them and injure them, they don't speak up with words, with human words, and tell us to stop. This struck me as pretty absurd, because anyone who has seen an animal knows that they're very different from us. Their morphology is different, their behavior is different. We can infer that their concept of mind is different, their intelligence is different, their emotions are different. Obviously, there are quite a few similarities, right? We have animal trainers and that sort of thing, people who can communicate with animals. But we're different enough to the point where it's not reasonable to expect animals to communicate with us in our own language. And we certainly can't communicate with them in their own language. We're just too different. So this really got me to thinking. And by the way, this kind of statement is a rather typical example of Christian dialectic, which kind of uses the Godhead is not really the right word, but uses the genesis of humans from God to explain why it's okay for humans to have dominion over the natural world, via examples such as the one I just quoted. In any case, so I heard this and I started thinking, okay, that can't only... There has to be more here. So what's really the deep meaning here? And I thought, well, in a way what it seems to be saying is that because they can't explain their experience in a way that we understand, that fits into our scheme of experience, it's invalid. Heard that before? And then I got to thinking about this. If it's okay to kill animals because they don't talk to us in our own language and tell us not to, how many steps along this train of thought does it take before it's okay to kill someone who doesn't speak our language and therefore can't explain themselves in our way? From there, how many further steps does it take to get to a place where it's okay to kill someone who does use our language but doesn't use it in a way that makes sense to us, that fits into our schema of perception? And from there, how many further steps does it take before it's okay to kill someone who looks like me, uses my language, has many of my same experiences, but just explains themselves in a way that I don't like? See you next week.